Full confession here. This is absolutely a on the fly episode. This is something that I've been thinking about for the past 72 hours. Last night at 3 a.m. in the morning, of course, it all comes together in my head and I'm like, this has to be a podcast episode. It absolutely has to be. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the mental part of the real estate game. This is something that is not talked about enough on real estate podcasts, YouTube videos, blogs. Hardly anyone talks about the mental part of this game. We all talk about the mechanics of it, the logistics of it, but we never talk about what needs to happen in our head to be fully successful in real estate investing. So we're going to dive into that topic in this episode. Building a real estate portfolio is as much about buying properties as being a de facto entrepreneur. I'm Karina Ufinger. I'm a multi-property investor, rental management company CEO, and also a landlord coach. I'm going to show you the systems and knowledge you need to thrive as a real estate entrepreneur. From your first property purchase to building a portfolio of passive income where you work less than 5 hours a week, you'll learn the essential information and skills to build a profitable portfolio and live the life you truly want. Whether you are well on your journey or just starting out, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Landlord Chick Podcast. There are a couple things that we never really talk about in regards to real estate success, and most of those come down to the mental aspects of the game. If you've ever listened to content from Ed Mylett or Gary Vee, you've likely heard them talk about stamina or confidence or any of the other mental ideas that exist out there. And we never really talk about them in regards to real estate and how important they are as real estate investors. So in this episode, I'm going to dive into that content and I'm going to show you how at least two of these affect the success of your real estate investing career. Now, confidence is one of those things that we all struggle with from time to time. I don't think there's anyone on this earth that comes out of the womb and goes back into the ground being 100% confident the entire time. Our confidence kind of wanes and then it gets high, it wanes and then it gets high. And there's a lot of information out there about creating self-confidence, about controlling your level of confidence, and it's absolutely important that we do this. Now, we hear that it's important because confident people attract other people, and when you attract other people into your world, your opportunities for success are multiplied, and that makes absolute sense. It makes absolute sense in its core, but let's take that down to a real estate investing level. And let's see specifically how your confidence in your abilities to invest directly affects your ability to be successful in this career. So confidence is something that it just sort of exudes from you. It's something that people notice about you. But also it's something that we notice about ourselves. If we feel confident in our abilities, if we feel like we deserve something, then when we are confident, we have an easier time going outside of our comfort zone. And one of the ways in real estate investing that we need to go outside of our comfort zone consistently is in networking. Anyone out there that has been in the real estate world for more than a couple years will tell you that networking is key to our success. And it's easier to network when we're confident in ourselves, when we feel confident about what we're doing. Now, the really hard part about being confident about what we're doing is that we often place mile markers. Like, once I close on a property, I'll be confident. Once I get approved by a lender, I'll be confident. Or if we're already in investing, once I buy that 6 unit, because right now I only have duplexes, or once I complete that first flip because I've only done buy and hold, then I'll feel confident, then I'll feel successful. When we put these mile markers on us, we're constantly changing or shifting that mile marker so that once we get that 6 unit, we're like, oh, well, now I need to get that 12 unit. to feel confident or to be successful. Or, well, now that I've done one flip, I need to do 10 or 5 before I'm confident or I feel successful in this. When we create our confidence based on mile markers, what we inadvertently do is once we reach that one, we move it a little bit further. Now, that's great for motivation in the sense of like obtaining goals and pushing ourselves forward, but it's a horrible recipe for success when it comes to trying to instill confidence in ourselves because we're constantly moving the goalpost. We're constantly moving the finish line that gives us permission to be confident in ourselves, to feel like we've been successful. We need to approach confidence just as something that we have because we've done things to make ourselves smarter. We have done things to make ourselves more capable. We have taken action that's moved us in this direction. And because of all of this, because of all that we just did, we deserve to be successful. We deserve the goodness that's going to come to us. And that's going to build our confidence. That's where our confidence comes from. It shouldn't come from mile markers or stepping stones. It should come from what we've done and where we've been, and understanding that because we're a good person and that we're doing this for good reasons, we deserve success. We're going to be successful. That is what's going to bring you confidence. And that confidence, when you're networking, is going to be apparent to those that are observing you. You're going to attract them into your sphere. Then we look at the money, the aspect money of it, and we look at approaching people for either private money, hard money, or even traditional financing. It doesn't matter what you're approaching somebody about. If you're asking them to lend you money, if you're exuding confidence, and this is something that I talk about in my private money course, we need to exude confidence so that they get the impression, they get the understanding that we believe in ourselves. Nobody wants to invest in somebody that doesn't believe in themselves. So especially when you're out there hitting the pavement looking for money to fund your deals, your confidence needs to be turned up. It needs to be on a level of like 150 degrees. It needs to be really high so that the people that you're communicating with, not only are they inspired by you and inspired by what you want to do, but they feel comfortable and confident giving you money. And this doesn't matter if it's an individual that you know, a bank, or a hard money lender. If you're not presenting a confident front, you are not looking like a good investment to them. So take some time to build up your self-confidence. Make sure that you know that you deserve this success. Make sure that you know you are capable of executing upon a deal and making it successful. Because once you have that inner confidence and you begin displaying that outwardly, it's going to begin to multiply and snowball with opportunities, with people that know you, with people that want to be a part of your world. And you're really going to see a consistent growth in your opportunities because of how you've been able to display confidence, because you are confident in yourself. Now, I know it's not easy being confident in real estate. It's easy for us to get knocked off our game and feel less confident when a deal falls through, or perhaps something really horrendous goes wrong with our buy and hold, or our flip ends up being unsuccessful. Maybe we end up taking a loss on the flip. It can be hard to keep our confidence going. And a lot of that comes back down to drive, determination, stamina, which is going to be our second conversation. But in real estate, it's incredibly crucial that we look at these little bumps in the road and recognize them for what they are. They're bumps in the roads. They're just small little potholes. They aren't these barriers that are on our road that we can't push through. They're not impenetrable gates that are preventing us from getting beyond them. They're just these little potholes that maybe it popped a tire, or maybe it broke the drive shaft when we drove through it. But we can fix those things. We can fix ourselves. We can get back on track to being confident, to being motivated, and we can still push ourselves forward. These little things that happen, if you let them get you off course, that is what eats up your time in real estate investing. If you lack the confidence to believe in yourself and you get a setback, the normal person in real estate investing who's confident in themselves, they might only take that as a momentary step back for 2 or 3 days. But if you don't have the confidence in yourself and your abilities, those relatively minor setbacks of a deal falling through or a flip not being successful, they can end up being something that hinders your success for weeks, months, and God forbid, even years. So it's really important, I can't stress this enough, that you should have the mental clarity and the mental confidence to know that I can do better than this. I am better than this. This was just a blip. This was not an actual result of what I'm capable of. I'm capable of more. I believe in myself. I'm just going to move on from this pothole and keep driving down my road. We hear it all the time about the real estate investors that have one thing go wrong and suddenly they wipe their hands and they're done. Those are people that are going to lack two things. They're going to lack confidence in themselves, and they're going to lack drive and stamina to actually push through the bumps that happen in real estate and get to the finish line. Now, I'm certainly not going to sit here and say that I have never lacked confidence in real estate. I will be fully transparent and say probably for the past 18 months or so, I've been really low on confidence on purchasing rental properties. And this is something that I haven't really talked about too much. I've talked about in other aspects, but part of what has really sort of hindered my ability to grow my own portfolio in the last 18 months, sure, some of it has been a lack of focus and other things being placed as priorities. But also, I have to admit, there was probably a part of me that lacked confidence in myself. That I got really scared at pulling the trigger, that I got really scared at what this meant to move forward and buy more properties. I talked about this in a previous episode, that it's been so long since I bought a property that in some ways I'm sort of a property virgin, that I've forgotten how to push through some of these things that I'm going through, that I'm thinking about, and that I'm worrying about to get past this pothole and to actually continue down the real estate path. So I absolutely have struggled with confidence in real estate investing. The last 2 months, as I've had to pivot a lot of what I considered my identity in this field, I suffered from a huge lack of confidence in the last 2 months because of all of that. So I'm certainly not here standing on top of Confidence Mountain saying, hey, come join me at the top. It's awesome. Because I've fallen down the first step, the first stage. I've fallen down to the second stage. And I'm actively trying to claw my way back up to the top so that I do have the confidence in myself, because I know that when you're confident in yourself, you attract success, you attract other people. People want to work with you. And that's what I need to get back to, is I need to have that success so that not only does my pivot otherwise pay out, but so that also I can actually execute upon and fully materialize upon building a bigger portfolio for myself. So if you're someone who is lacking self-confidence in investing, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. Of course, it's voluntary homework, because if you feel like you need this, then I think you should do it, and you're going to find it very, very helpful. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to make a list of the things that you have done to further yourself in real estate. And this doesn't matter if you are just beginning or if you've been in the industry for a little bit. Make a list of the things that you've done to further yourself in real estate investing. So this could be deals that you have successfully done. This could be courses that you've attended. This could be networking events that you're consistently doing. Heck, listening to this podcast belongs on that list of things that you've done to push yourself further in real estate investing. Then the other list I want you to make, and this gets back to this idea of having the confidence that you deserve the success because your intentions are good, if you haven't already written down what your why is, why you invest in real estate, why you want to make this happen, do that piece of homework. Write out your why. Your why is what feeds into your motivation, and it's also what's going to give you confidence. If your motivation is, I want to be successful in real estate investing so that I can spend more time with my kids, I can take them on awesome vacations before they become adults. If those are your motivations, the fact that your motivation is your family is going to be an altruistic reason that you are investing in real estate, and it's going to give you confidence that you deserve success. So get your why down. Get a list of the things that you've done to propel yourself forward in real estate investing, and then make a list of the reasons why you're in this career. Once you've made those lists, take the time to review them, not once, not twice, but honestly, I recommend reviewing them probably once a week, and especially before crucial moments that confidence comes to play. So those moments would be before going to a networking event. Maybe have the list on your phone, take a picture of it, have it on your phone so that you can reference it really quickly before you walk in the door to a networking event, or before you walk into a meeting for a private money lender or a bank or a hard money lender. Quickly review that photo and remind yourself of your why, and remind yourself of why you deserve to be here. We talked about it in an episode a couple weeks ago about networking. You need to believe you deserve to be there. In real estate investing, believing that we deserve to be here, having the confidence that we deserve to be in this room, is a huge part of our success. So as much as we talk about everything else in this game, we talk about calculations, we talk about procedures, really the first part and the most important part of being successful in real estate comes down to confidence. Because if you're not confident in yourself, no one's going to believe in you. It's going to be really hard for you to further yourself. It's going to be hard for you to take the time to download that podcast to listen to it. It's going to be harder for you to practice your calculations because you believe you're going to fail. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe you're actually going to execute upon anything. If you lack the confidence from the start, you're never going to get anywhere. And if your confidence starts to wane over time, then you're going to notice that your ability to evolve and to grow is going to start to slow as well. Now, we've talked about confidence and we've talked about stamina already a little bit, because here's the thing. These two aren't mutually exclusive. If this were a Venn diagram, confidence and motivation, or stamina and drive, would absolutely be 50% into each other, because they do feed into each other. It's impossible not to have confidence, but yet to have stamina and to have drive. And it's impossible to have stamina and drive without being confident in yourself. So we've already talked about stamina and drive, but we're going to dive into it, because while we have talked about this, or this is talked about in real estate podcasts and blogs, it's mostly aimed toward beginning investors. But yet no one really talks about how advanced, intermediate investors need stamina as well. And maybe it's because, sure, once you get past the beginning point of being an investor, it's easier to have stamina. It's easier to have drive because you've already been successful. You already know you can get somewhere. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't wane or falter from time to time. And if anything, actually, I don't believe stamina wanes or falters. It depletes itself. See, I view confidence as something that can definitely falter. Like we have it, we stumble, and it fails a little bit on us. Our confidence starts to go down. Stamina, however, functions more like a gas tank. If you're going to drive 300 miles somewhere, before you start your return trip home, you're likely going to have to fill up your car. My Honda Civic, which I actually feel is pretty good with gas mileage. You need to fill it up after about 350 miles if I'm really good with the mileage on there. But I'll need to refill it before I return home. Stamina functions the same way. Stamina needs to be refilled. We use it, we use it, we use it. It gets used up. The tank starts to go down. We use a quarter of it. We use a third of it. We use half of it. We use all of it. And we have no stamina left. And we need to take the time to refill it. We need to refill our stamina. And it doesn't matter what stage in your career that you are, you're going to have to refill it at some point. Now, how do we refill that stamina? How do we refill that gas tank so that when we have something like a blurb, a blip in the road, when a deal falls through, or maybe a partner screws us, or maybe financing exit strategy falls through, we need to be filling up our stamina tank so that when we see those, we approach those, we have those, we can push through them. We can just punch our ways through that obstacle and get to the other side. But we need the stamina to do that. And if our stamina starts to run low, where do we find it? Where do we get it? How do we refill stamina? Well, one of the quickest ways to refill your stamina is to focus on yourself. To take the time to understand that you need a little break. Now, of course, if you're in the middle of an obstacle, your break can't be something like, oh, I'm going to address this next week or 2 weeks from now. When I say take a break, I say to pause for a moment, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, make it minutes. Pause and take a moment to fully understand the situation ahead of you, to fully think about where you've come from, what previous obstacles you found yourself hurdling over in previous years as a real estate investor. Pause and reflect on those moments. By pausing to reflect on those moments, you're giving yourself a confidence boost. And like I just said, confidence is not mutually exclusive. If you're giving yourself a confidence boost, there's a little bit of it that's going to trickle over into your stamina gas tank and fill that up. So take a moment to think about the obstacles that you've overcome, the successes you've had, and just pause. I said in the beginning, while you're paused, you're going to think about that obstacle in front of you. Because once you feel that little bit of success or confidence injected into your veins, and you feel your stamina starting to come back up, you're going to look at your obstacle with new mental clarity and say, okay, this is the issue that's in front of me. But I have more than one choice here. I have 2 choices. I have 3 choices. These are my other possible outcomes for this situation that I'm facing right in front of me. Refilling your stamina can be something in the moment that you can do with just pausing. Now, if your stamina has been eroded for a long time, if your gas tank's been running empty for a long time, and I've been there. I've been at that point that my gas tank has been running on empty. It was running on empty for way too long earlier this year. Way too long. And I suffered the consequences for it. But if your gas tank has been running on empty for a while and basically you've just been pausing, refilling it with fumes, and then continuing down the road, but never taking the time to fully take the needle up to full, you need to do that. You need to take more than a pause. You need to take a break. We all need to take breaks from things. If you listen to the gurus out there, they don't really encourage you to take breaks. They encourage you to go, do, drive. And I think it's all great for motivation. But it sucks for the practical application of understanding that human beings need breaks. We need breaks so that we can refuel ourselves, so that we can refuel our brains, refuel our bodies, refuel our mental clarity and our mental state. If you've gone for way too long on fumes, or you feel like you're getting low and you maybe don't have a crisis that's immediately on the horizon, I encourage you to take a break. Do what you need to do to recharge your batteries. Whatever you do to recharge your batteries obviously varies. For me, I recharge my batteries when I go on vacation. I physically have to go on vacation to recharge my batteries. For me, staying home and reading a good book all day does not recharge my batteries. I don't feel the same way after that as I would if I went for an overnight day trip somewhere. So figure out what it is that recharges your batteries and devote time for that. Now, if you're someone who feels like doing that would be selfish, I have a little special PSA for you. If you think that taking the time out of your day to rebuild your stamina, to rebuild your mental health, to rebuild your self is being selfish, then I think you need to understand how hard it is to take care of other people, to be what other people need us to be if we're not taking care of ourselves. Going down a little bit of a path outside of real estate here, but when we don't take care of ourselves, it's that much harder to take care of our kids at night. When we don't take care of ourselves, it's hard for us to be what our spouse needs when they come home from a stressful day of work, or it's hard to be what our significant other needs when they take us to a company party. We need to be refueling and recharging ourselves so that we can help other people. It's not just about being successful ourselves. It's about being successful at helping other people and being what we need to be for them. Recharging ourselves is the most selfless act that we can do because it's ultimately going to help us be an asset to those in our lives that need us. So no, taking time out on your day to recharge your batteries, taking time out of your schedule to recharge your batteries the way you need to is not selfish. It's going to help you gain the stamina to continue with real estate investing. It's going to help you gain the stamina to put your children to bed, to pack them lunches, to be the chaperone on the field trip that they need so that the field trip can actually happen. It's going to give you the stamina that you need so that you can help your spouse or significant other make a great impression at that company party. It's going to be what you need to do to be that caring, honest, and open spouse or significant other that they come home to after a really bad day at work. Take time to recharge your batteries so that you can be successful for yourself and so that you can be successful for the others that are in your world. I know this was a totally different podcast than normal. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, if you want to see more that are a little bit off of the beaten path in real estate, we're not just talking about the mechanics and logistics of it, please let me know, because I feel like I went out on a limb here and I'm sort of on the edge of this limb on this tree. And I'm like, does anybody getting anything from this? Because I might fall off the branch if I don't feel like you are. So if you did get something from this, please send me a message over on Instagram, Landlord Chick. Let me know you enjoyed this podcast, because then I will put more content like this into the plan for the future. All right. I hope you guys have a great week. I'm coming up on the long end of how I want these podcasts to be. So have a great week, and I will see you guys next time.